While headlines track U.S. carrier strike groups moving into the Middle East during the escalating Israel-Iran crisis, the real shift in air power may be happening far above them. The U.S. Air Force has been experimenting with systems capable of launching, recovering, and coordinating aircraft directly in the sky. The concept isn't entirely new. In the early 20th century, giant airships carried parasite fighters. Today, DARPA is testing mid-air drone recovery that could allow large aircraft to deploy and retrieve unmanned systems while still in flight. Piece by piece, the technology for a carrier in the sky is coming together. And if the air itself becomes the next great ocean of warfare, the question is no longer whether airborne carriers are possible, but who will control them. For years, the idea of a UAP carrier has circulated in different corners of the internet, as if it's something out of the X-Files. It's supposed to be clandestine aircraft the United States Air Force operates to house, deploy, or harbor alien technology. This isn't just another black-budget project, but it's a mothership for extraterrestrial craft, tucked away in classified hangars and hidden behind layers of denial. Whistleblowers within these classified units have hinted at secret programs involving exotic technology beyond conventional aircraft, and it seems like the government is hiding something cosmic or otherworldly. The conspiracy theories and rumors about UAP carriers can be connected to other sightings of unexplained objects in the U.S. military, like the infamous Tic Tac encounters described by Navy pilots. These are often folded into hidden alien tech programs. Although there are a lot of rumors, the Department of Defense's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office has said that there's no evidence that the U.S. government has ever owned or engineered any form of non-human technology, even with all the classified reports and pilot observations. During the Cold War and beyond, military secrecy deliberately created myths that intertwined actual classified weapons development with UFO concepts. The Pentagon even spread these UFO stories so that adversaries won't know about their real advanced programs. Although the government says there's no evidence that the USAF operates a flying carrier designed for UAPs or alien craft, the question is, how much of this is true and how much are they hiding? And if it's not aliens, what is behind the sightings? Is it secret USAF tech, foreign drones, sensor quirks, or something else entirely? Before we discuss this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more coverage on the U.S. Air Force and its latest weapons. Let's start with the early experiments from the 1930s, where massive rigid airships like USS Akron and Macon were used to launch and recover F-9C Sparrowhawk parasite fighters. This was an early attempt at a flying carrier and reveals one of aviation's most ambitious and audacious experiments. Designed as airborne aircraft carriers, these dirigibles were among the largest flying objects of their time, each stretching among 785 feet long and equipped with internal hangars for up to 5 tiny biplane fighters that could be deployed or retrieved mid-flight via a retractable trapeze mechanism beneath the hull. The concept was wildly innovative. Instead of tying air power to land bases or ships at sea, these flying platforms would serve as mobile scouts and defensive wings high above the ocean, extending reconnaissance and reach far beyond traditional naval aviation. Pilots of the Curtiss F-9C-2 Sparrowhawks would fly out from the belly of the airship, complete missions, then rendezvous with the mothership's trapeze hook and be hauled back into the hangar without landing on solid ground. Yet dreams often collide with reality. The Akron was lost in a catastrophic storm in 1933 with almost all hands aboard, abruptly ending her test program. Just 2 years later, the Macon met a similar fate off the California coast, sinking into the Pacific and taking 4 of its parasite fighters with it. Those early airship carrier programs ended in disaster, but it laid the groundwork for later ideas about airborne launch and recovery systems under the U.S. Air Force. The early experiments by the U.S. Air Force inspired future generations of military thinkers as they tried to extend aviation power without conventional runways, whether they had UAP carriers or not. But during the Cold War, they were focused on studying and modifying new kinds of transport aircrafts, which could have served as potential airborne motherships. During the Cold War, large transport aircraft, including modified C-130 Hercules airframes, were studied by the government as potential airborne motherships. which could carry, launch, and in some cases recover smaller aircraft or unmanned systems in the middle of a flight. The logic was simple. In a nuclear standoff, fixed air bases could be destroyed in minutes. Mobility could create survival. If bombers and reconnaissance drones could deploy from the sky itself, American air power could become harder to neutralize. But it wasn't just an idea on paper. The U.S. was already experimenting with parasite fighters in earlier decades. Now the focus shifted to strategic depth and flexibility. Transport aircraft offered range, endurance, and internal cargo space that's large enough to house drones or specialized craft. Engineers explored concepts where UAVs could be dropped from the rear camp, complete surveillance or strike missions, and either land conventionally or rendezvous midair. It was an attempt to turn logistics aircraft into force multipliers. In the tense atmosphere of the Cold War, secrecy surrounded these programs. Black projects were normal. Whenever civilians spotted unusual aircraft, shapes, or unexplained aerial maneuvers, it led to a lot of rumors and speculation about UFOs. UFO reports increased during the same era as the government created advanced spy planes like the U-2 and A-12 and tested them at extreme altitudes. The line between classified aerospace engineering and extraterrestrial mythology blurred easily. After all, if the government could build planes that seemed to defy conventional flight profiles, what else might it be hiding? Some suspected that these airborne mothership studies were a cover for alien technology programs, but according to declassified records, these were only strategic military reasoning and not extraterrestrial hardware. The goal was to create aircraft that had survivability, reconnaissance, and rapid strike capability, not reverse-engineered spacecraft. Meanwhile, the USAF also adopted a top-secret program to turn their normal transport aircraft into flying aircraft carriers, bringing more speculation about UAP carriers. DARPA's Gremlins program is one of the closest things in real-world aerospace to the concept of a flying aircraft carrier, and it has moved well into tangible mid-air demonstrations. The idea behind Gremlins is to turn large aircraft, such as the C-130 Hercules transport plane, into a sort of airborne base that can launch swarms of small unmanned aerial vehicles and then bring them back for reuse rather than letting them fall back to the ground or sea. Named for the mischievous imps of aviation folklore, the program envisions groups of low-cost, reusable UAVs that could be dropped from a host aircraft over contested airspace to perform missions like surveillance, electronic warfare, or reconnaissance, and then captured in flight by the same aircraft once their mission is complete. Over a series of flight tests, DARPA and its industry partners, including Dynetics, have made real progress toward this capability. The X-61 Gremlin air vehicle, developed as part of the program, has been tested flying in formation with a C-130 and in late 2021, achieved the program's first successful mid-air recovery back into the transport aircraft during a flight demonstration. This mid-air retrieval saw the small drone maneuver into a capture device or bullet trailing off the bigger aircraft and was winched aboard. This demonstrates the feasibility of a launch and recovery cycle that could one day expand how the military projects air power. Historical concepts included Boeing 747 base carriers and the massive Lockheed CL-1201 nuclear-powered flying fortress. These were visionary designs that demonstrated the changing mindset toward airborne bases. These aircrafts came from serious aerospace studies during the Cold War, when strategic planners were asking a radical question: what if air power never had to land? The Boeing 747 concept imagined converting the iconic jumbo jet into a launch platform carrying multiple small fighters internally. The aircraft would cruise outside hostile airspace, release its parasite jets for strike or interception missions, then recover or support them before returning home. The appeal was strategic reach without dependence on vulnerable forward bases. In an era when missile technology threatened fixed runways, mobility in the sky meant survivability. Then there was the Lockheed CL-1201, which was a proposal so enormous it still sounds unreal. Designed in the late 1960s, it envisioned a nuclear-powered aircraft with a wingspan over 1,000 feet, capable of remaining airborne for weeks and carrying dozens of fighters. It was conceived as a self-contained aerial fortress. Command center, strike platform, and airborne base rolled into one. Nuclear propulsion would eliminate the need for frequent refueling, theoretically allowing near-permanent presence over strategic regions. It's not hard to see how these ideas remind the world of extraterrestrial technology. A multi-thousand-ton aircraft cruising silently for 40 days, powered by a reactor and deployed by smaller craft from its belly, seems like something out of alien engineering and not real technology. Although this was difficult, the USAF continued to explore many other concepts, but faced different challenges like cost, defense threats, and practicality. In the mid-20th century, military thinkers toyed with some of the startling concepts in aviation history, including launching mini-fighters from larger mother aircraft and then recovering them mid-flight. One of the most notable efforts was the McDonnell XF-85 Goblin, a tiny jet built in the late 1940s to accompany the massive B-36 Peacemaker bomber and defend it from enemy interceptors. The plan was that the bomber would carry the Goblin inside its bomb bay, release it on a trapeze mechanism to meet threats, and then have the little fighter reattach in midair before returning home. However, it wasn't easy to bring this to light. The turbulent airflow under the bomber made those rescue hookups very difficult, and many test flights ended with emergency landings because pilots couldn't reconnect. The program was canceled after a handful of flights, as aerial refueling and improved long-range fighters made the idea less practical. The US wasn't alone in exploring parasite fighters' ideas. Similar experiments involving combinations of heavy mothership aircraft and smaller launchable craft go back even earlier in aviation history. For instance, Soviet engineers tested heavy bombers carrying smaller fighters in the 1930s, and German designers explored compact parasite concepts during World War II. Although these programs were dramatic and daring, they mostly stalled because the technology of the time couldn't handle the logistics. Docking a fighter beneath a larger plane required extreme precision and left little margin for error. What's more, new technologies were evolving like jet propulsion, aerial refueling, and radar-guided defense systems, and so the concept of these programs became less compelling. The ideas proposed by the US Air Force once sounded almost extraterrestrial, pushing the boundaries of imagination and technology. Yet the reality was always constrained by the unforgiving physics of air turbulence, structural limitations, and the practical demands of combat. Over time, however, warfare itself began to evolve. New technologies such as drones, automated systems, and artificial intelligence started reshaping how aircraft operate and fight. Even if it wasn't the UAP carrier many once imagined, these innovations have quietly transformed the future of aerial warfare. So how exactly did this shift toward autonomous systems and AI redefine the Air Force's vision of modern combat? If you're still watching, you're clearly interested in this topic. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think will matter most in the future of aerial warfare. As modern warfare evolves, the long-stood idea of an airborne carrier has been reborn through AI. Swarming drones or uncrewed systems integrated into existing aircraft and battle networks. Instead of pilots struggling to reconnect tiny fighters under a mothership, today's aircraft and drones operate with autonomy and coordination unimaginable just a decade ago, dramatically reducing risk while expanding capability. At the forefront of this shift are collaborative combat aircraft, which are autonomous, AI-driven drones designed to fly alongside manned fighters like the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, or operate independently when needed. These CCAs represent a major turning point as the first uncrewed fighter jets officially recognized by the US Air Force, blending autonomy with mission flexibility. Artificial intelligence is also to be considered. Programs like Shield AI's Hiveman have flown autonomous platforms such as the Anduril Fury drone, showing real-time decision-making and integrated squad tactics once reserved for human pilots. Meanwhile, advanced swarming technology, which involves dozens or even hundreds of drones into a unified strike or reconnaissance force, promises to overwhelm traditional defenses and reshape how airspace is contested. All the government tells us is that they have AI-enabled aircraft teaming, autonomous swarms, and the next generation of uncrewed fighters, not confirmed alien hardware. Still, there's still speculation that the US is reverse engineering alien technology or building UAP carriers. There's something interesting here. With all these technologies, the US is able to create a distributed aerial ecosystem where manned jets serve as the brain and coordinate autonomous wingmen and swarms. Is this the advanced technology that the Air Force will stick to, or is there something extraterrestrial involved? In tomorrow's battle space, the sky might no longer be dominated by a single gigantic flying carrier, but instead by a single gigantic flying carrier, which we call a distributed aerial ecosystem. It has a network of tankers, drone tenders, stealth platforms, and AI-linked nodes, all operating to sense, strike, and survive. This new model moves beyond the singular mothership concept into something far more resilient, networked, and adaptable, almost like an invisible web that blankets the battlefield from above. At the center of this shift is the collaborative combat aircraft and autonomous systems designed to operate along with manned platforms like the F-35 and strategic tankers. These unmanned aircraft can carry out surveillance, electronic warfare, or even strike tasks while integrating into a larger command network, multiplying the impact of each individual asset without risking pilots. The U.S. Air Force has been developing CCAs like the XQ-58 Valkyrie and similar autonomous drones that can work together and support larger formations, showcasing how distributed aerial operations might look in practice. Fueling this ecosystem are some efforts to push beyond traditional roles for aircraft like the KC-135 tanker, which are modified to launch or support drone systems in flight, combining logistical support with active combat roles. AI and machine learning systems are pushing this transition along, enabling autonomous coordination between dozens or even hundreds of drones. This reduces the need for human control and changes how air dominance is achieved. Although there's new technology in the U.S. military, they haven't left the traditional systems behind. Instead, they focus on integrating new technology into older crafts and vessels. The U.S. Navy's sea-based carriers, especially the USS Gerald R. Ford, remain the cornerstone of American power projection even as aerial and space domains grow more contested and complex. These massive nuclear-powered platforms are strategic linchpins capable of launching 90 aircraft, including stealth fighters like the F-35C Lightning II, radar early warning planes, electronic attack jets, and unmanned systems from anywhere on the globe. What makes the Ford class particularly significant is its integration of next-generation technology. Its electromagnetic aircraft launch system, EMALS, and advanced arresting gear, AAG, which replace traditional steam catapults and hook-and-wire landings, give the ship the flexibility to launch and recover a broader range of aircraft, including heavier strike jets and potentially drones. This increased electrical capacity, thanks to two powerful A-1B nuclear reactors, lays the groundwork for future systems such as directed energy weapons and next-generation radars, which could one day defend against hypersonic threats or incoming swarms at the speed of light. At the same time, Ford and its Carrier Strike Group are adapting to the rise of unmanned and autonomous systems. The Navy is exploring how unmanned refueling drones like the MQ-25 Stingray and other uncrewed aerial vehicles can extend the reach of the strike group and complement its manned fighters. Warships escorting the Carrier Group are also being equipped with counter-drone weapons to defend against low-cost aerial threats more efficiently than traditional missiles. In the future battlefield, dominating the skies will no longer hinge on a single massive aircraft, whether it's sea-based carriers or rumors of secret UAP carriers. While we haven't seen the UAP carrier yet, what we can see is the rapidly evolving aerial ecosystem built around flexibility, automation, and connectivity. This ecosystem blends manned fighters, autonomous drones, AI-enabled decision systems, and airborne launch points into a layered network of capabilities that can adapt faster than any single platform ever could. Programs like DARPA's Gremlins have shown it is technically possible to launch and recover unmanned systems mid-flight from larger aircraft, creating airborne mothership nodes that can recycle swarms of drones for repeated missions at lower cost than traditional aircraft. Meanwhile, AI and autonomy are transforming how these systems navigate, execute missions, and coordinate with each other in human crews, often making decisions in real time without direct human control. As air dominance becomes more about speed, information, and adaptability than sheer platform size. America's flexible aerial ecosystem is designed to ensure the skies remain contested. While rumors of a secret UAP carrier continue to circulate online, the reality is that the U.S. Air Force is already building something just as transformative. A vast network of AI-driven drones, autonomous wingmen, and distributed aerial systems working together in the sky. So what do you think is really behind the UAP carrier rumors? Hidden alien technology, misunderstood experimental aircraft, or simply the next generation of military systems evolving faster than the public can keep up? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this breakdown valuable, hit that subscribe button.